right, guys, welcome back. Truth and Transparency. It's a Friday, April the 10th, 2026. Florida versus Shanna Gardner. We have a very important new filing. It is a motion to suppress Mario's T-Mobile phone. Now, this trial is officially set. Mario Saldana will go first, August 17th. Jury selection will begin August 11th. These are two completely separate trials now. So Mario's jury selection will happen beginning, I believe, August the 11th, with the trial setting and starting on the 17th. So it's like beginning of the week on the 11th, jury selection. Then the following week, so they start like at the beginning of the week. Mario will have his week to week and a half. They say that that's how long it will take to try him. Then they will, after the jury comes to a verdict in the Mario Saldana case, they will seal the verdict because they're going to read them both together. So after Mario is tried and there's a verdict and it's sealed, then Shanna Gardner, her selection of the jury will begin immediately after. And then she'll have her trial, which the state is saying that it'll take 2 weeks to try her. And then the jury then will deliberate. It'll be a new, different jury than Mario's. Then the jury will deliberate. And then they will read off the verdicts, back to back. So these cases have been completely severed. Now, we've been having depositions, and so we are on notice 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, and 39. We are starting to get into the fact that they are redacting some of these names, and I think it's interesting. Jenny Miller. So just a little quick recap. The reason that these two cases are now completely severed is because Henry Tennant is not testifying against either one of them. He's just not. He has said, I want to take this plea deal back. I want a trial. So he will be tried. So he is a co-defendant. He is not testifying against either one of these defendants, Shanna Gardner or Mario Saldana. And so we're not going to be hearing from Henry when Mario's tried. So you have to ask yourself, what information can and will they use against Mario? Well, this motion to suppress the phone is going to help us with that. I told you guys that this John Biggerstaff was heavily involved from the beginning. So we're going to jump into the motion to suppress because it's going to lay the foundation of, wow, okay, how did the police ever get to where they got? Well, the defense is claiming that Detective Johns lied his ass off. You could be the judge. Defendant's 35th notice of taking depositions. Look at this. Again, we've never had these type of redactions on who's being deposed, but we've only had that for the children. Now, unless they're deposing the children again, which, I don't know. Are they deposing here? Is it, Kirsten Bride again? Is it? But I have a feeling that these are victims. That's just my thought. Again, now we have Chris Thomas, Amy Colton, and I'm curious who this is, but Shanna had a PR firm, and I believe that these people are part of this Intrepid group. So we're going to get into that down the road. Again, we've never seen this. We've known everybody that's being deposed. So defendant's 37th notice. So at these depositions, remember, all the different defense attorneys can be there. Same thing with the state, and they get to ask away. Here we go. We got a couple cops here. Jacksonville Beach Police Department officer. Here's the expert, the video forensic and enhancement from Orange County Sheriff's Office. And then this is Cruz, who was a gaming buddy of Mario Saldana. He lives in North Carolina. And after the murders, he took a trip and they're trying to say that he visited this guy. They were trying to find this murder weapon. They've never been able to find it. And his relevance is going to come into like gaming and what Mario had ever said to him. He supposedly overheard some talks, so that's going to be hearsay. Curious about that. But that's a gaming buddy. And here's the FBI cast expert. And then we have, here he is. We've had Detective Johns deposed, and now we get to Detective Lamont. God, to be a fucking fly on the wall. All right, now why are these people, Lana, why do you get so excited about this? Well, because I believe that these people lied their asses off. Okay. And finally, it's going to come out in this filing. So let's go like this. Oh, by the way, I want to give a shout out. Shell, thank you so much. Thank you for the hoodie. Cheers. Thank you for my goodie basket. Cheers. Hold on 1 second. Where's my... Okay. I'm going to grab one thing really quick. All right. Here it is. So Mario Saldana filed this as a motion to suppress his own cell phone. It was a motion to suppress the defendant's cell phone records seized pursuant to the T-Mobile search warrant. I knew this was going to come up, and I just wanted to know how they were going to go about it. So I have 2 of these because one I've already done. So, all right. Now, here's a chronological order of events. On April 8th, 2022, Detective Johns, he signed and submitted an affidavit for search warrant, and that's the number. And it's Exhibit A. Now, in this affidavit, Detective Johns requested approval for a search warrant to be served upon this T-Mobile, and it was also to include location information and establish a pen register and trap and trace. So we've just dealt with this with the Idaho 4 case, right? Well, as it pertains to Mario Fernandez's telephone number, during the period of time of January 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2022, that would be also known as historical records, right? See here. Okay. Now, undersigned counsel recognizes that the reviewing court is to give great difference to the magistrate's probable cause determination. With that said, though, if you can show a substantial basis for that the magistrate was basically lied to and there was no probable cause that existed. So with that in mind, here is the chronological order of events that is claimed by Jesse Dreiser. Again, he's a pretty good attorney. His motions have been spot on. He knows this case inside and out. So there are several false statements contained within the affidavit, which will be outlined chronologically below. You guys know I love people that go in order. So the first and perhaps the most obvious false statement starts off with probable cause statement section as follows. On March 16th, 2022, you guys, Jared Brightigan was not killed on March 16th, 2022. He was killed on February 16th. Now, why would that be important? Because the dates that you're looking for stuff. The incident for which Mr. Fernandez has been charged occurred on February 16th, as they say. So that's the factual. Now, additionally, the affidavit says Fernandez Saldana also came to the door and confronted the victim at his residence when it was stated in the blank plan, which was the divorce decree plan, which was to text when they arrived at each other's residence. See Exhibit A at 3. Now, so here is that first paragraph. So the March 16th, 2022. So that's where he's like, hey, that's your first mistake. You can't even get the date right. Okay. And then they're saying the second thing is we're going to get into this paragraph here, but I want you guys to focus right here, which is the 4 shell casings that were recovered at the scene. They're saying that based on the shell casing locations and bullet strikes to the vehicle, it appeared the shooter came from the rear of the vehicle and shot the victim as he was about to exit the vehicle. So there, what we are able to get from this is the state's theory of the case, which is, hey, whoever shot him was coming from like behind the car, because remember I've said, hey, I think this would have to be like a double ambush in a way. You're going to have a car in front. You're going to have to have a car behind, because I don't think the tire is going to be good enough that why wouldn't he just drive around it? So I've always maintained that. And I'm still going to go with that. So here we get that out of this probable cause statement, that they're going to say that the person came from behind to shoot. Now, he says, during my investigation, he's saying, meaning Detective Johns, he's saying, I learned the victim was leaving his ex-wife's, Shanna Gardner, residence, okay, after dropping off the kids, the twins. Based on interviews with family and friends of the victim and Gardner, your affiant learned that the victim drove by his residence to pick up blank from Gardner's, the twins from Gardner's residence, and then take them to dinner. Your affiant learned that this was an established routine. It was 1,000%. It was. Now, and it was referred to by all involved as date night, and it occurred every other Wednesday between 6:30 and 8. The routine included that the victim would drive Jacksonville Beach, pick them up, and then take them somewhere to go have dinner, and it was usually by the beach area, and then drop them back off. Now, this is, again, Detective John spoke with blank, which is his wife, Jared's wife, Kirsten. She advised that the victim called her just after dropping off the twins at Gardner's residence. She said he did not mention anything odd about the evening or having any disputes with individuals. This was just seconds before the shooting, according to the phone records. And the rings that were in the area that heard the shots. Now, due to the specifics of the murder, such as blocking the road with the tire, walking up from the rear of the vehicle, the slow calculated shots, lack of evidence of an attempted burglary or a theft, and known road rage / other disputes prior to the homicide, No, known. Your affiant believes that this was a targeted ambush. It was learned that the victim took the same route home as a matter of routine. Now, this is the part that I'm going to disagree with. The only people who would have been aware of his route home would have been, his wife. And then they're going to say Gardner and Gardner's husband. You guys, how would Gardner and Gardner's husband, how would they know which route he drove home? There was a bunch of different ways to go from where Shanna Gardner lived to where Jared Bridegan lived. I mean, unless that's going to come out where the kids were asked, hey, did your mom or Mario ever ask you what route you take to go home? And then this is, hey, they're not in the car because they've already been dropped off. Okay. So I don't know how you can say, I have no idea what route, when my friends come over, I know exactly where they live, right? I know where I live. I have no idea what route they take home when they leave my house. In fact, a lot of my friends, I know for a fact you could go either way when you have to go on my street, make a right or a left, and it's going to depend on the time of day. Because it depends on if you want to go to the freeway or if you want to go to the back roads. So I'm just blown away that statement's even in there. Because I want to know how they could say that Mario and Gardner would know that. So blows me away that you could put something like that in here. Anyways, because they never talked. But hey. Now, right here, we're going to go back to... Okay. So Kirsten advised the detective that the victim went through a particularly disagreeable divorce in 2015 with Gardner. Kirsten advised that Gardner had constantly kept the victim in court in an effort to gain something out of the divorce, okay? And I'm sorry, that's going to be proven not true. Sorry. She further explained that Gardner's new husband, Saldana, challenged the victim on several occasions, such as standing at the end of their driveway with his hands folded in an aggressive posture. Fernandez Saldana also came to the door and confronted the victim at his residence when it was stated in the divorce decree plan, parenting plan, to text when the twins arrived at each other's residence to pick up, just let us know when you're there and we'll let the kids out. Okay, now ready for this? So Jesse says that is not. He has all of these on recorded, all these interviews recorded. And he says, when Detective John states this, he's lying. And I'm like, because remember, we just have the written reports. Jesse and all of them have the recorded interviews of everybody. Okay? Jesse, Jose Baez, Diane, they all have everything. And I was like, well, I believe Detective John's a fucking liar. I've seen him. We've all seen him lie. Okay? So check this out. Look at this fucking lie right here. So this little Fernandez also came to the door and confronted the victim at his residence when it was stated. So he quotes this. And now this is Jesse saying, now, on July 22nd, 2015, first of all, a consent final judgment of dissolution of marriage was filed in the divorce case of Shanna Gardner and Jared Bridegan. The documents includes a parenting plan, which indicates the exchange of the children shall be at whatever the house that you're taking the kids to, the other parents picking up, stuff like that. And that the parents shall communicate with each other in person, by telephone, by email, and by text message. Like, those are the ways that you're allowed to communicate. That's what the plan states. Okay. So thus, the parenting plan did not limit the parties' communication to text messages during the exchange of the twins. And what we just saw there is Good old Detective Johns is like, I'm going to say whatever I want. And so he calls that out. He says, that's not true. Next, he says, on March 21st, 2022, so this would have been the murder is the 16th, so a month and a week later, Shanna Gardner was interviewed by Detective Johns. During this interview, Miss Gardner recounted the instance where Mr. Fernandez approached Jared's residence while attempting to pick up the twins. Specifically, Miss Gardner stated Mario went up and knocked on the door, and they didn't answer. So, when he says, Kirsten advised that Gardner had constantly kept the victim in court to gain whatever, but then she further explained that Gardner's new husband, Saldana, challenged the victim on several occasions, such as standing at the end of their driveway with his hands folded in an aggressive posture. Fernandez also came to the door and confronted the victim at his residence when it was stated in the parenting plan to text when they arrived at each other's residence to pick up, the twins. So here, this is basically Kirsten, okay, is claiming this, but that's not the truth. So either Kirsten was lied to or she lied to the police, because if Jared said that's not how it's supposed to be, this is how it's supposed to be. Well, Jesse went straight to the decree. Here it is. Okay. And anybody that's ever been through a divorce, you guys know, like, the decree is what is period. Okay. So I just personally believe that Kirsten wasn't lying. Okay. But now the question would be, is she lying about this whole confrontation? Because Saldana said that there was no confrontation because when he went up to the door and nobody was home, and that's the same account that Shanna Gardner gave. But regardless, the decree does not state what Kirsten said. And as a detective, you're supposed to look into the decree. So that's what I fault him on. I don't fault Kirsten at all. And in fact, you have no idea what Jared ever told. You know what I mean? He could have just said whatever. So now Jesse Dreisler says, hey, this is straight from Shanna Gardner's interview. In quotes, Mario went up and knocked on the door and they didn't answer. And I think the kids came out and the kids were freaking out, like anxiety, like, oh my gosh, like you weren't supposed to do that. That's against the rules. And he's like, what rules? This was never a rule. There's nothing saying I can't come knock on the door. And that's straight from the transcript of her interview. And see, if you go and you actually read the report that was written, that's not, Detective Johns doesn't put that in there like that. He's shady. So further in the affidavit, the detective claimed that during Mario Saldana's police interview, he stated that he enjoyed confrontation with the victim and bragged about it. He wrote this in his during the interview, he said that he enjoyed confrontation with the victim and bragged about it. Dude, that's a bold statement. I'm like, you can prove that this wasn't said. And he's like, yeah, here you go. He's saying, such statement is a blatant mischaracterization of the actual information that Mr. Fernandez provided to the detective during his interview on March 1st, 2022. Though Mr. Fernandez did describe himself as being confrontational, at no point during the interview did he say he enjoyed confrontation with the victim. Transcript of interview. Rather, Mr. Fernandez expressed his frustration with the victim's willingness to communicate issues regarding the twins. Specifically, Mr. Fernandez said, there were lots of times where if you look at our emails, text messages, our exchanges, to me, it's just pestering. It's very annoying. I don't like that. I would much rather do what we're doing right now. We'll all sit down, and if we have something to confront, we'll do it together. We can talk about it. I extended that to them plenty of times where it's like, why don't you guys come over and we'll talk about this? We'll figure something out, something like that. See the transcript of the interview. And I'm just like, oh my God, that is blatant. Happy Friday to you too. I mean, this lying shit has to stop. So now, additionally, the affidavit states that during the detective's investigation, he quote unquote learned that one of the twins, and it's the girl, was starting to favor living with her father and showed an interest in getting baptized. Miss Gardner participated in a police interview on March 1st, 2022 at the Jacksonville Beach Police Department. At no point during this interview was Miss Gardner asked about this child's interest in getting baptized into the LDS church or whether she opposed such interest. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. However, during Mr. Fernandez's police interview on March 1st, 2022, he discussed Blank's interest in baptism as follows. Blank, the one of the twins, is, I don't even know if she's going to do it anymore, but she was taking an interest in being proactive in the church. We thought it was fine. We didn't mind. However, we know that they've implemented certain things on the kids and hovered the church over their head, and that's just not how it should be introduced for a child. We decided, hey, what if the girl wants to do it? We can take her on our side over here on our weeks. And Shanna was like, yes, that's what I'm going to do. That way I can teach her the difference of how it can be. So the girl wanted to get baptized, so we told her. I was like, that's fine. Just make sure you learn and understand what you're committing to. Dude, if this is all in recorded interviews, I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? So here, this is what he put in there. Your affiant also learned that blank was starting to favor living with over this and then getting baptized, of which the victim was a member and Gardner was opposed. Do you see that? The word opposed. Opposed. Jose Baez lost his shit. And this is why he was like, this is blatant lies. To get search warrants. Shanna Gardner was not opposed to any of that shit. Now, next one. Moreover, in the affidavit, the detective highlighted, quote unquote, several inconsistencies between statements of Gardner, Fernandez Saldana, and the children. So between all of them, there's these inconsistent statements. See Exhibit A at 3. For instance, the affidavit states, in quotes, during Gardner's interview, she stated Fernandez Saldana only met the victim one time. However, he recounted meeting the victim on several occasions, such as during gymnastics, training, school events, and at his residence. I want to show you what comes next, though, in this. After he talks about that, now look at this. A review of military records revealed that Fernandez Saldana was a drill instructor in the United States Army and took small arms training among other firearms training. Your affiant had the twins sent for interviews with the child protection team. Your affiant also interviewed Gardner and noted several inconsistencies between the statements of Gardner, Mario, and the children. You guys, they were, I want to say, God, either 8, 9, or 10. One of those ages. Okay. During Gardner's interview, she stated Fernandez Saldana only met the victim one time. However, he recounted meeting the victim on several occasions, such as during exactly how, Jesse says it was said. Okay. So here, Jesse's like, this is ridiculous because this is not true. And here he cites, during Miss Gardner's police interview on March 1st, 2022, she was ever asked if there were any times where Mario met Jared or would have been around him. While Miss Gardner did say Mario has never formally met him, she also said, in quotes, there have been times where we've been in the same room, and proceeded to provide examples. See transcript of interview of Shanna Gardner. For instance, Miss Gardner recalled one time where Mario introduced himself to Jared at the courthouse, and another time where Mario knocked on Jared's front door while picking the twins up for date night. During the interview, Mr. Fernandez also mentioned other occasions where he and Jared were both present, i.e. doctor's appointments for the children. Likewise, during Mr. Fernandez's police interview on March 1st, 2022, Mario recounted the same incident where he knocked on Jared's front door while picking up the twins up for date night. See the transcript. Consistent with the statement provided by Miss Gardner, Mr. Fernandez proceeded to tell the detective that, quote unquote, the only time we've seen them really in person outside of when we do the exchanges with the twins or stuff blank doing something is when we're in court. They came in, I went to shake their hands, his wife shook my hand, and he just looked right at his lawyer and just refused to say anything. Next. Additionally, the affidavit states, in quotes, on the evening of the murder, Fernandez Saldana stated he took a large dose of, gabapentin for leg pain and was asleep on the couch. He stated he never spoke to one of them when they came home since he was sleeping and they went upstairs. And I'm guessing he probably just said like the twins. Well, right here, this is from the affidavit. On the evening of the murder, Fernandez took a large dose for leg pain right there, okay? Well, guess what? He continued to say that he stated he then got up and went to take a shower. This was corroborated by Gardner. However, during the interviews performed by the child protective team, blank both stated they believed Fernandez Saldana was in the other room playing video games, but it appeared neither actually saw him. This is what he writes in the affidavit, okay? Now, Jesse's like, his lawyer, Mario's lawyer, is like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? During Mr. Fernandez's police interview on March 1st, 2022, he stated on the evening of February 16th, 2022, he had a high dose to treat a headache. You guys, that matters in this. A headache versus to treat a leg. Okay, a leg thing. Okay. It was like how Van Leuven tried to say, like, Dr. Moore was like, he just came right out and tried to tell me that he couldn't run and he had some leg issue. Lying about that. What? No, Detective Johns. He told you, and it's on a recording device, that he gets he gets migraines, so headaches, so he takes this. Okay, why would you change it to his leg? Now, he then says, and that he was asleep on the couch when the twins returned from the date night and recalled his dog barking upon their arrival. That's what he said. Now, see transcript of interview. Mr. Fernandez further stated that upon the twins' return, he heard them talk to Miss Gardner before heading upstairs. Okay. Mr. Fernandez proceeded to tell the detective once the twins went upstairs, he got up from the couch and went to take a shower. Transcript interview of Mario Saldana. When asked by detective if he remembered blank talking about anything that may have happened, Mr. Fernandez says Liam came back downstairs to shower. We just asked him, like, how was everything? How was date night? Actually, they told us they went to Bearded Pig and that particular date night was fine. That was it. Transcript. Mr. Fernandez added, the only thing they mentioned was that Jared had a phone call and they had to wait in the car. They couldn't go inside yet, so they just had to sit there and wait. Then what was it? Period. Mr. Fernandez further told the detectives that once the twins had gone to bed, he did laundry because there was a laundry on the bed. Then I just sat there and I was talking to Shanna Gardner, about all kinds of things. She was wrapping up an order and she put it outside because she said that her client was coming to pick up an order that night, which is normal. That has happened before. Then she just was cleaning. We were talking. She was cleaning the kitchen. She cleaned some of her office. Then you guys rang the doorbell at 1 a.m. We were just getting ready to shut down. See the transcript. During Miss Gardner's police interview on March 1st, 2022, she stated she and Mario were both home, consistent, when the twins returned home from date night on February 16, 2022. Miss Gardner elaborated in stating, I was at the stove, had headphones on, I was watching Netflix, making dinner, and was just about done with that, and that Mario had a really bad headache, so he was asleep. When asked by the detective if blank mentioned anything out of the ordinary about the date night, Miss Gardner said the only thing that they stated was that he was on a call for like the first half hour and they were sitting in the parking lot. Consistent. And then they went in and they had to hurry up and eat their food so they would get back in time. During, I'm guessing the kids' interview right here, police interview on March 4th, she stated when she and Liam returned home after date night, so this is the girl, Miss Gardner was standing by the stove in the kitchen, making dinner for she and Mr. Fernandez. And that, quote unquote, Mario was there, I'm pretty sure. When pressed on whether she was sure Mario was there, the girl said, I believe Mario was there gaming with his buddies, so I'm going to say yes. Now, you guys, this interview with them was on March 4th with the kids. March 4th. February 16th. Why are the kids not interviewed till March 4th? I mean, little kids like that, I'm sorry, but I'm going to ask Jax. I'm going to do a little thing with them next week. I'm going to I gotta have something significant happen though. And see if he could, like, what he would think if he could get stuff right. Okay. He's 10. How about this? You want to hear a good story? We go to soccer. And I'm like, what field are we on? There's like a million fields, you know? He's like, I don't know. I was like, what? What do you mean you don't know? I was like, well, look around. Where'd you go on Monday? He's like, okay, yeah, driver. I was like, was it in our normal fields that we were on the past 2 years? He's like, no, I know that it's not that. I'm like, oh God, here we go. I'm like, okay. And then driving, I was like, okay, well, I want to go to the concession stand anyways because I want some nachos with some cheese. You know, that concession stands going, you can smell it. And I'm like, and I want a slushy. And I was like, so you gonna come up with this number, this field number? He's like, okay. We're in front of number 9. We were in front of where's the number 9? And I was like, do you remember that? Because like you're thinking about what you saw when you're playing, or like how did you come up with that? But it took him a minute to think about it, and he was just there 2 days ago. Okay. And in his defense, though, all those fields look the damn same. And when moms are always doing everything for you, you know. And I personally believe that he remembered people saying that. And then he also remembered, oh, yeah, 9, it's in front of 9. So I cannot believe that you would ask these kids on March 4th about something that happened on February 16th. That's a long time. So I could see if Mario is always like doing video games and playing video games, I could see them just like, well, that's what he's always doing. Like, why would, you know, I know he was there, but I mean, I'm sure he's playing video games, you know? So I think that that's really difficult. But anyways, now again, during this interview, Gardner was cooking and texting on the kitchen counter, and that Mario was playing video games. When pressed, yep. Now this was the girl. And now the boy, when he was pressed, he's like, when pressed on whether he was sure Mario was there, okay, Liam confirmed that he saw, you see this? He saw. That is like, you guys saw him wearing a gaming headset, holding the gaming controller, and that he heard Mr. Fernandez saying, left, fire. You know, because you're playing those stupid games. Additionally, the warrant affidavit states a review of the camera. So before we get to the camera part, everything up here, how can you sit here and say that these are not between what Shanna Gardner said and Mario said? They're fucking give me a break. And then what did the kids say? The only thing that I think they added was about video games. Right? And I think it's because he does that so fucking often that's why that got said. And that was said by both of the kids. So both of the kids have the same lie. You know? But the other thing was that they physically saw him. And Detective Johns is saying that he said that right there. That he noted all of these inconsistencies. This is for him to get this search warrant. Okay. To get a search warrant, You're claiming that, hey, your affiant had the twins sent for interviews with the child protection team and doesn't give a date. Your affiant also interviewed Gardner and noted several inconsistencies between the statements of Gardner, Fernandez, Saldana, and the children. During Gardner's interview, she stated Fernandez Saldana only met the victim one time. However, so we went over that. Then we went over that. But right here, he says, but it appeared neither actually saw. It appeared neither one of them actually saw Fernandez Saldana. Also stated that when Blank arrived home from date night, they used the keypad on the front door or come in through the garage. That's a big or, because we're going to get to the garage part. Hello. He just lied. He just said that they didn't see him. Both of those kids said that they saw him. That's a lie. But that's a big, important lie, because it's like, you're not home at the time of the murder, because Jared Bridegan was shot and killed basically right after he dropped those kids off, because he then leaves and he's ambushed at 7:49, 7:52, something like that. And he just had dropped them off at 7:46. And so it's a big thing if Mario Saldana, Shanna Gardner saying that he's there, and the kids are saying that he's there. But now Detective Johns puts it in this affidavit saying that the kids said that they didn't see him. And I'm like, whoa. And that's where Jose Baez lost his mind and said, that's crazy. That's a blatant lie. So now, additionally, the warrant states a review of the camera revealed no events around the time that the twins were dropped off or the victim departing. Based on redacted statements, there should have been footage captured of their arrival. Well, right here it says that you said or. They used the keypad on the front door, or they came in through the garage. You see that? Or they came in through the garage. Now that matters, because the garage didn't have the camera. The front door did. Okay, so it's a big difference. But now what he's going to say here is that now this just blows my mind, because I don't understand how this happened. He says, this is how they went about getting the Ring camera footage. And remember in the Karen Reed case, those of you guys were following with that, I was like, how can they not figure out who deleted the Ring camera footage? You know, how could they? Was it deleted for sure? Okay, there was something there, and now there's not. And then wouldn't you be able to tell like what device deleted it and what time it was deleted? You know? Anyways, so let's see what they say here about this ring. So based on, I'm guessing it's the twins' statements, there should have been footage captured of their arrival. Your affiant believes portions of the Ring footage from the Gardner Fernandez residence from the incident date could have been deleted. Could have been deleted. And where he says that is right here. He says, during the CPT interviews, both children stated they came in through the front door. Okay. The front door is equipped with a Ring doorbell camera. A review of the camera revealed no events around the time that the twins were dropped off or the victim departing. Based on the twins' statements, there should have been footage captured of their arrival. Your affiant believes portions of the Ring footage from Gardner and Fernandez's residence from the incident date could have been deleted. Could. And I'm over here like, you couldn't figure that out? Well, let's find out, right? Like, so this is what he does. Your affiant obtained phone records via subpoena. I'm like, wait, there's nothing more about Ring. So we're going to get into that. But here they do it. So here Jesse's like, this is ridiculous. He says, on or about March 9th, 2022, law enforcement obtained a search warrant for Ring camera footage. Why would you wait that long to obtain this search warrant? You guys, the murder was on February 16th. What the fuck are... March 9th? March 9th? What are you doing? So they go and get March 9th. Subsequently, on April 14th, Detective Johns submitted an inventory and receipt for the search warrant served upon Ring, in which he stated no video was provided by Ring.com. What do you mean, no video? None? No video. I'm like, what? Then it gets crazier. The company forwarded the search warrant to their client suspect, meaning the Shanna Gardner residence, to fulfill the video portion of the warrant. Wait, what? I've never seen this before. Wait, excuse me? The suspect responded and stated he did not have any video on his app from the time period requested. This was verified by officers on the night of the murder. So what you're leaving out is that on the night of the murder, so this reminds me of the Sheldon Jr. case, okay? On the night of the murder, when you came over there and you talked to them, you asked them to pull up the app. And what do you have on the app? Like, do you have any like timestamps or do you have any Ring camera footage? Okay. And so they're like, no, there's nothing on here. Like, neither one of us left. It didn't pick up the kids coming home because they must have come in through the garage. Okay. And now the kids don't get interviewed until March 4th, not February 16th, like the adults. Okay. And here, like, you can't get any, like, there's nothing more. Okay. So this is just what we get. I've never seen this in my life. Have I ever seen that? Then Ring is like, hey, can you fulfill the video portion? It's like, wait, what? What do you mean? Okay. So next, I just never saw that before. If somebody else has, please enlighten me. I'd love to hear. Now, your affiant obtained phone records via subpoena. So he's writing this in his search warrant, okay? He's like, I obtained phone records via subpoena. Like, what phone records? Well, a review of Fernandez Saldana's phone tolls revealed several phone calls. So phone tolls is totally different than like, I'm trying to get, we need to be able to seize these devices. We need to be able, I want to put a pen trap and trace. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. That's totally different. So they did go out and get the phone tolls, and it revealed that there were several phone calls prior to the murder with an individual identified as John Biggerstaff. Now, I about absolutely fell the fuck over, and I told you guys this was coming. Here it is. Biggerstaff was a former reserve officer for the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office who was fired for tipping off drug dealers to upcoming search warrants. That's the type of shit that Frank Katropa's dad was doing in the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case that I was talking about out of Pennsylvania. I was like, wait, what? He was fired? Because I knew that there was these allegations, but now it's in black and white. John Biggerstaff was fired for tipping off drug dealers to upcoming search warrants. He was later then charged on federal charges for running a prostitution ring. Biggerstaff is a U.S. Navy trained cryptologist. What? Trained in small arms. While there were sporadic contacts between Fernandez, Saldana, and Biggerstaff, according to toll records, there is no contact until January 24th, 2022, after which your affiant observed between 4 to 8 contacts per day, and many days with no contacts. What? On February 15th, 2022, that's the day before the murder, your affiant observed 24 contacts between Fernandez, Saldana, and Biggerstaff. There are 10 contacts on the day of the murder and 7 contacts on the day after the murder. The last time there was any contact between the two to date was February 21st, 2022, after which all contact ceased. Okay? Now, Jesse's like, what the fuck? This is, whoa, hang on. What? What did he just write? So, here he goes. He's going to lose his mind. Okay. Last but not least, according to the warrant, Detective Johns subpoenaed and reviewed now the defendant's toll records, and that he analyzed communications between defendant and John Biggerstaff. And remember, I said I went and checked to see when they were getting these search warrants for John Biggerstaff stuff, but they had never talked to him. And they did this in March of 2022. And I was like, how is he not a co-defendant? How is he not a co-conspirator? Right? Well, let's continue. So here, the affiant states the last time there was any contact between the two to date was February 21st, 2022, after which all contact ceased. Now, he's saying the first subpoena that law enforcement issued for the defendant's cell phone records was issued on February 19th, 2022. That's correct. Yes. And requested records on and between January 1st to February 19th, because that's the last day, obviously, that you, right there, it's February 19th. There's no phone records that have happened yet. Now, the first subpoena that law enforcement issued for John Biggerstaff's cell phone was issued on March 16th. That was the first. And requested records on and between December 1st, 2021 and March 14th, 2022. And this is this big Syray talking about patterns of life and like you need 180 days. You can even go like that's best practice right now. But what's even like top is a year. Okay. So they say they went back and got these historical phone records, like just who you're calling, who you're texting. At the time the warrant was written on April 8th, 2022, law enforcement did not have any cell phone records for the defendant or Mr. Biggerstaff post March 14th, 2022. Thus, to say contact between the defendant and Mr. Biggerstaff ceased on February 21st, 2022 is both false and misleading, as law enforcement did not have the necessary records to make such an assertion. Because remember, this warrant was sought April 8th of 2022. And so they only had Mario stuff up until February 19th. And then there was that gap because they didn't go after his stuff until March 16th. But so they're saying, hey, like, there's just, you don't have, moreover, the assertion was subsequently refuted by the cell phone records that were obtained as a result of the T-Mobile search warrant. I was like, wait, what? And moreover, this assertion was subsequently refuted by the cell phone records. So wait, you're telling me that the cell phone records themselves actually show that what Detective Johns is claiming here is false? It's just flat out false? Like, he can't try to wiggle his way out to say, no, it was just that gap that we didn't have, or no, it's the phone records prove that that's not true. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. What the fuck is going on? Now, in Florida, appellate courts have consistently held the historical cell site location information. This is what they were going for with this search warrant for April 8th, 2022. Is protected by the Fourth Amendment. Okay. For a motion to suppress to be successful under Franks v. Delaware, counsel must present sufficient evidence as to the nature of material facts asserted by the petitioning party. Under Frank's motion, counsel must establish that while seeking an affidavit, opposing counsel presented evidence that was either an intentional lie or a misstatement of fact and is material to the finding of probable cause. These findings must support the evidence that the judge used in making a determination of probable cause. If once the evidence is determined to be either a misstatement or a lie, and the court finds that the probable cause determination would not have been reached, but for that misstatement or lie, the court should apply the standard from Franks and find that the affidavit void as to render the search and evidence gathered inadmissible. Once the court determines false information is included in the affidavit, either knowingly or recklessly, and that the information is material to finding of probable cause, the court must suppress the evidence obtained in the search. Wherefore, after removing the material false statements and misstatements of fact and finding there is no probable cause contained within the affidavit for the search warrant, the defendant moves to suppress the cell phone records provided by T-Mobile pursuant to the search warrant dated April 8th, 2022. In addition, the defendant moves to suppress any and all results, inferences, extrapolations, fruit of the poisonous tree, and any and all other evidence this court deems just and proper. Now, when you go take a look at this, okay. Your affiant is seeking this evidence because the investigation shows that the victim was targeted. Nothing was taken from the vehicle or the victim's person, despite the presence of valuables. Both witnesses and video corroborate the roadway being clear prior to the murder. The victim was shot at close range from the rear of the vehicle while traveling a route only known to a limited number of individuals. The victim, his ex-wife, and the ex-wife's husband had a conflict-riddled relationship. Fernandez Saldana appears to develop a friendship with an individual who would have knowledge of police procedure and investigative techniques. Your affiant believes the evidence being requested contains direct information relating to the homicides or the homicide. Mario Saldana had been friends with the Biggerstaffs. He was banging his wife. They're swingers together. He's known John Biggerstaff's daughter for years, okay, back when she was in high school, like graduating. And now this wedding is going to be so important because if there's ever a time where you're going to be testifying to something that I would think, okay, what was going on that week? Why would these people be talking? Oh, Juan Biggerstaff came into town on that Tuesday or Wednesday. It would end up being like the day before the murder. He came in on Tuesday. Juan Biggerstaff is John Biggerstaff's son, and he was getting married on that coming weekend. Okay. And they went and got, what do you call it? Like tables, chairs, all that crap to like set up and use trucks and stuff like that for this dude's wedding. But also now Biggerstaff claims that he was being Mr. Maintenance Man, fixing shit up over there at the house or whatever. And woo-wee. So let me get this straight. Is there probable cause to go after and do like a pen trap and trace? And what else did he say? He went after the historical records. He did. Let's see. This is what he was going after with these statements. He wanted the right here. Affidavit to disclose phone records to include location information and establish a pen register and or trap and trace. The Jacksonville Beach Police Department has received information that the offense of murder was committed on or about. Yep. The matter is reported. There are specific article of facts pursuant to blah, 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 blah. There is probable cause to believe that the following record or other information pertaining to the business transactions of T-Mobile is relevant to a legitimate law enforcement inquiry and evidence of the crime murder. All customer subscriber. Now, this is where it's important because you end up getting people's IMEI numbers because they set up a geofence. Device pursuant information. This is specifically to the date, time, and location of where the device or any prepaid refill cards were purchased. You see this? Any email addresses associated with the account. This is specifically to include Google Gmail addresses associated with any Android device associated with this device or any email associated with an iPhone and or iTunes account. So if I went back, because there's a bunch more that this is to get. Now, okay, how do I want to say this? April 8th. At the end of March, they had like a ton of search warrants already even on for Biggerstaff. It's like, how did they get those search warrants? How are they tracking this dude's spending habit? Like going and pulling his bank accounts. They don't even talk about any of the bank accounts. There's no money that's tossing hands. But the false statements, so are they material? Because I'm like, okay, well, what if he says that the kids would have seen him? If you're doing a hit, you're at home anyways. You get what I'm saying? Like, why is Detective John saying what he's saying? Because if this is a hit and you hired and Henry Tenen is the shooter, right? But you don't know that? You think that it's Mario? So you really don't think he's at home? He had to make it so that Mario had a motive to kill him? They both participated in police interviews March 1st and talked to the police without lawyers present. They lie about the baptism. They lie about the inconsistencies of the statements. He lies about saying that he enjoyed confrontation with the victim. I think that's huge. I think at no point during the interview did he enjoy confrontation with the victim. Did he say that? That's a big lie, right? I want to know how the fuck they had any reason to go after John Biggerstaff shit. Because of his record? Because he's fucking running a porn ring? What is porn and murder? That's porn and murder. Was he even found? I mean, did he serve time for that? Yeah. What was he doing before that? Oh, he was tipping off drug dealers. He lied about like not knowing them earlier because he did know them. But Mario was never asked any questions about John Biggerstaff during his interview on March 1st. He wasn't like. I mean, I can go back and check and see if I think they called him back in maybe for another one in April. What about the lie about the headache compared to the leg? How they fucking get that wrong? The kid saying like Mario was there, I'm pretty sure. And the other kid said, I believe Mario was there gaming with the buddies. So I'm going to say yes. The Ring camera didn't come back and show that anybody deleted anything, right? Is it? So he's making it seem like they deleted Ring camera footage. He's making it seem like the kids didn't see him. He's making it seem like Mario and Jared had this confrontation that they never had. And he's making it seem like the last time that there was any contact between the two, between Biggerstaff and Mario, was February 21st, 2022. Do we know exactly on headache and leg? Yes. The interview specifically says, so John's lied about that. So he said, Mario said he has headaches. He was discharged from the army because of that. One of the things. I mean, this is how he obtained the cell site information. This is how he basically obtained to be able to track this motherfucker. And my question would be so I guess just not being the ex-husband of a horrible divorce from 2015, is not enough. No, I mean, privacy, right? We mean you want you want to know where I was and shit. Cell site locations for all T-Mobile cell sites. Location information to include any estimated or known latitude and longitude. Timing advance report and true call data. For real-time location information, this would include the 911 automated email system providing emails to the affiant every 15 minutes with the estimated latitude and longitude of the device. I mean, I'm sorry, but you lie about, like, this is a lie is a lie. Are they material? Are these material? Well, my thing is, it's like, I think anything that you put in an affidavit, if you lied about it, is material, because why the fuck did you put it in there if you didn't think it was material? So let's play a game. How would you argue this if you were the defense? Why do you think the state had to say these things? And the answer is, well, to get probable cause, because without it, they would have just left all this shit out. So when you take out the stuff, what's left? When you take out the known falsehoods, what is truly left? Look at this shit. Cloud data. Any content that may have been backed up to cloud storage for the list, date, times. If said cloud storage has been provided by a third-party provider, please provide relevant contact information for that provider. I mean, they went for everything. I mean, this one's just huge. This is just like, every 15 minutes you get the ping and you're going to know exactly where I'm at. And then they got the timing advanced. Then they got longitude, latitude. They got the Google. Then this is the time period that they're going for, which was January 1st, 2022 to March 31st, 2022. And then he's saying that, okay. He continues to say that based on my training and experience and general knowledge of human behavior in today's society, your affiant knows that most individuals own and possesses a cellular telephone and retain their phones on their person or in their immediate possession, particularly when not at home. While individuals regularly leave their vehicles, they carry cell phones with them at all times. A cell phone faithfully follows its owner beyond public thoroughfares and into private residences, doctor's office, political headquarters, and other potentially revealing locations. Modern cell phones are now such a pervasive and insistent part of daily life that the proverbial visitor from Mars might conclude they were an important feature of human anatomy. Your affiant knows from training and experience. He was on the stand and they asked him if he knew any of this shit. So who wrote this for him? Who wrote this? This is his first homicide. Your affiant knows from training experience that criminals frequently communicate with other and or others before, during, and after criminal events. Your affiant also knows from his or her training and experience that this type of communication usually occurs via cellular phones. Well, you have his phones. You have his phone calls. You know what I mean? You're basically saying in this search warrant here, you believe that this communication was meetups. If you want someone's location, you're also basically saying that you believe that somebody would leave their phone somewhere and then they're going to go off, right? Analysis of these records could assist your affiant with determining the general location of the cellular phone before, during, or after the target offense. So how about this? Why would this would be my argument. Your Honor, he wants to know if my client was home basically at the time of the murder. Okay? So that's where this should have started. And that's where it should have stopped, because it would have revealed that what? That my client was home during that time. Then he would have wanted to come back and say, well, people leave their phones home when they go and commit crimes. So is this just going to be a never-ending cycle that I can just keep coming back and, well, I'm going to say this now because that's him. I don't understand. And this is why I was loving on Cyray's paper, because it's about preservation. So we want to preserve this data, okay? And now I need to explain. So we go ahead and we preserve it, and now I need to be able to explain what this data is going to be used for in like a trial. That's what basically Cyray was getting at. You want to preserve as much data as you can, because if you're going to be doing patterns of behavior and stuff like that and pattern of life, you need that's what could exonerate like a defendant, because it's these coincidences that's not good enough, and people shouldn't be able to testify to that. So as such, this information will assist your affiant with furthering the above described criminal investigation. Are you kidding me? This isn't good enough. You need to say, this is where this crime occurred, right here, okay? This is where this person's house was. He says he was at home. Then he says, in addition, individuals engaged in criminal activity often use cellular phones to conduct or aid in the commission of their crimes, as well as to conspire with others. Specifically, individuals involved in criminal activity will often communicate specific information related to these acts by means of their cellular phones. How did we get to the land down under? According to their theory of this case, Mario Saldana went to Henry Tennant's house, took Henry Tennant's truck, okay, with Henry Tennant in it, and then drove it back to by over where they live, dropped Henry Tennant off at a bar or a restaurant, okay, and said, I'll be back, basically, even though this is just not what happened, but this is what, but how they were able to do all this and track all this, they said was because of Henry Tennant's phones. Because they're like, Henry, why are your phones in, doing X, Y, and Z? Why aren't your phones together when they're normally together? And it's like, How the fuck are you getting to any of this if it's not just completely illegally? And so what I believe is, I'm just shocked that they're going about it this way, because they were supposed to have a taint team. They didn't have a taint team. They got into material they were not supposed to get into. Okay. And so then once again, they worked backwards. And I just blown away. That's why this warrant wasn't asked for until April 8th. Look at this shit. He just continues to go. Look at this. He says that people keep mementos in their phone, like trophies. Exculpatory nature of these records as it relates to ESI. Through my training and experience, what training and experience do you have with this? And his answer is going to be fucking nothing. I know that while the requested information may reveal inculpatory evidence that further shows a suspect was involved with the specified crime, there may be exculpatory information also contained within the data requested. For example, the data may show text messages and calls that appear inculpatory in nature. However, when viewed in totality with other data gathered from applications such as GPS or other messaging applications, the calls and text messages may be viewed differently. Additionally, it is the state's requirement to preserve and gather all evidence in the course of an investigation. In this specific request, we are requesting information that we know will be purged based on the retention periods defined by T-Mobile. These retention periods for some records can be as short as 48 hours. What? What records are 48 hours? Given the totality of requesting information that is electronically stored information with a known retention period, the possible inculpatory and exculpatory nature of these records, in addition to the state's requirement to preserve all potential evidence in the course of criminal investigation, your affiant is requesting a time period of 60 days of records as mentioned in the date range above. To what? Preserve or to fucking search? Because this is a search warrant. This is a seizure. This is a search. They need to look into this. He needs to supplement this. I'm telling you, they already preserved this. I can find it. Stifler was handling this case from day one as a prosecutor. It's very similar to the Idaho 4 case. The prosecutors were involved day one, and they were writing all this shit up. Stifler was the one that was deciding and going and getting search warrants to say they were planting geofences all the fuck over Jacksonville Beach. Like around the crime scene, then they go around the Gardner home, then they go to like these little pocket areas, and they're just allowed, like they're getting warrants and they're getting them approved to set up these geofences, which means every, device that would come in. So basically, in August, this is how I used this case and sent an email to Cyree. And I said, who is Mark Sonnendecker? I said, Mark Sonnendecker was using timing advance in 2022. And he went back 6 months. So this case happens in February of 2022. The Idaho 4 happened in 2022, but in November. And Mark Sonnendecker is with the ATF, so it's federal. And lo and behold, when I got Mark's report and what he did, and I was like, how did he get timing advance? How did he get any of this shit? How did he get the AT&T stuff? How did he get the T-Mobile? How did he get any of this? Like, and I swear there was AT&T records that went back like I was saying, if timing advance didn't exist until 2023, they used timing advance in this case and they were able to get the records from 2022. And so all I said was, Ann Taylor, you need to watch this case because I think this would be a case that you'd be citing in the Brian Kohlberger case, hands down, once this goes and makes it through trial. I think I sent Jose Baez's team an email saying that they needed to take a look at the Idaho 4 case with all their claims in that case. Because at the end of the day, the government's lying. Somebody is lying. Stop fucking lying. And why are the judges protecting it? It's just a simple question. I'm going to call all you people in here, like, why aren't we bringing stuff to the attention of judges to say, hey, this dude in this case, this is what he did. Okay. And then now a year later, he goes to this case and he's saying this stuff. So, Your Honor, I want to be able to impeach this man by saying, in this case, this is what you said. Then you come to this other case and this is what you said, which are complete opposite of each other, but it's for the same material. So which is it? And now here we are at this new case, and what are we going to do? Just flip a coin on how you're going to say you're going. Well, every case is case by case basis. Fuck that. How can you say that? A case by case basis on what? Best practice is not case by case basis. So they tried to say that Henry Tenon's the shooter and he's not, and that Henry Tenon did this for no money, and it was like a layaway plan for murder. Who the fuck does that? Well, Henry Tenon's like, the fuck are you people talking about? No, what? I personally believe that his truck was 1,000% used. But I think they're going to make a really, really good argument about the tool chest that's not in Henry's truck anymore, that's on the back, or it's on the pictures of the blue truck that they were following around. So they're going to have to prove that there was a toolbox back there because it doesn't match without it. And I'm just like, I cannot believe. So basically, without Jesse wording it and saying it in this filing, he's basically saying that if this gets suppressed, you don't have anything. Everything goes. Everything goes. And I think that it should, only because you're fucking lying. Like, why are you doing this? Why would Jacksonville Beach put on a guy that's never worked a homicide in one of the most complex homicides that Jacksonville Beach has seen in decades, if not century? Like, why would you do that? I don't understand. That just doesn't make any sense to me. But it does, because it's like, no, actually, we're putting our prosecutors on it, and we immediately knew that this was what it was, and this was a hit, and we had to somehow, like, there was no other suspects. It was day one, Shanna Gardner did this, and we got to figure out how she did it. That's it. Period. And, okay, well, then just go and eliminate everything. It's like, then it should be really easy for you to start eliminating all this other shit. And you could still, like, you still keep your fundamentals and how you're supposed to do something. You don't change. Like, it's like, as a coach would say, hey guys, we're playing a really shitty team tonight. Okay. That's not going to mean that we're going to not do things fundamentally sound. Okay. we are going to play our game. We're going to do things the way that we do things. You know, we're going to run our offense. But you know, you're not going to go start taking like crazy ass shots just because you think you can. And okay, like we'll be able to get these rebounds. We can just do whatever. Like, no. And so that's what I feel like they did here is it's just like, hey, this is who we know that she did it. Okay, well then let's just work the case like we normally would and everything, you know. Well, no, let's just do it like this. Why? Like the day I'd ever listen to somebody just tell me that we're going to do something totally different, and I would be like, why? Why are we doing it like that? That's it, Oriani. Get out of here. You're no longer with us because you question everything that we do. Well, yeah, because I don't understand why we would been doing something for and trained a certain way, and now we're gonna the biggest case of our lives, we're gonna go do it like this. Why? Tell me why. I'm not saying I won't do it. I want to know why. And then they would probably say, well, no, because on the stand, we can't have you knowing that. So you can just have plausible deniability. And then that's when I would say, you know what? Fuck all the way off. But that's what these people say to each other. And they're like, yeah, okay, that sounds great. That's corruption. That's just corrupt. That's that is ridiculous. That's like McDonald's, like making your food and hey, we can save a ton of money, guys, if we do it this way. We're only going to give everybody one pickle from now on. We're only going to give people like half of a slice of cheese. Why? Because we're going to save millions of dollars. And we're still going to charge for the same amount of money? Fuck yeah, we are. Actually, we're going to up it. Okay. So this is ridiculous. It's nuts. It's nuts reading this because this motherfucker has no idea what he's writing. But Detective John, so do these lies, are they material? Fuck yeah, they're material. They are. If those kids said that they saw him, what are you doing? Why didn't you interview them on the 17th? You know, Nan, given the nature of the crime, possible planning period, and the ability to identify common patterns and trends within the requested records, your affiant believes it is reasonable and appropriate to request this period of time. You need to request more. Furthermore, there is probable cause to support the requested records are of evidentiary value, and the act of preserving the requested period of time is within the best practices of preserving digital evidence as well as ESI. Perfect. Now we're going to talk about that. Exactly. You wanted to preserve this. So then there should be another search warrant because you preserved it. Now, how are you going to go and we're going to allow you now to get up in that ass? So, and you preserved it with lies. But this was not written by Detective Johns. This was written by a Fed. 1,000%. And if I was to send this to Cyrey, I bet you $1 million he would say, "I'm fucking idiot. No way he wrote that shit." This is somebody that clearly has the same philosophy as Cyrey as why you would preserve data. And Cyrey was talking about the same thing. It's about you're going to be able to get inculpatory information and exculpatory information. This is to protect everybody. And you need to just go and preserve the data. We just need to preserve it. So we just need a preservation order, okay? And then, okay, now I can just like breathe, okay? I have my stuff preserved, and then let me build up the probable cause to actually then get in it. Take a look at this. So they received the warrant on the 8th, but they didn't execute and serve the search warrant until the 6th of May. And then this is what I believe that they did. It's because if you read, they got the information and then they must have served another search warrant, because it says, received this search warrant the 8th day of April and executed and served the search warrant in Duval County, Florida on the 6th day of May 2022 by searching the premises and by taking into custody the property described in the above. So I was like, no, wow. So they waited almost a month. I thought you only had so much time to serve a search warrant, like 7 days. Received this search warrant this 18th day of October. I thought you had 30 days to like turn in the inventory. Lamont's going to get crushed in his depots. Lamont has everything to do with Henry Tenon. That's coming. So what do you guys think? So clearly John Biggerstaff and Jeremy Ordway are going to testify and say that this is the conversations that we had with Mario. This is how this all went down. Yada, yada, yada. So they're going to be what? Admitting what? It was John Biggerstaff's gun. So where's the gun, John? I have no idea, because I gave it to Mario and I never saw it again. So this is what these people think that they're going to be testifying to. Ordway just over, hey, I was just a driver. Okay. These people have not been arrested. How is John Biggerstaff not arrested? How is there no money? How'd this get paid for? Who the fuck commits murder and doesn't get paid? Well, and then poor Henry. Henry didn't know what the hell y'all were doing. And that's why I think Mario was like, wait a second. Henry confessed to murder. He didn't kill nobody. I think Henry was given that money because it was like they were saying, listen, so then ask yourselves this then. Hey, you need to trash that blue truck, man. The cops put an APB basically on it. They have it all over. It's all over the news. Like, go hide that truck. We have to do whatever with that truck. And if anything, that's what that money is. Kickstarter pallet shit, 5,000. So then the other part about it is, it's like, okay, then where does the second tire come from that was just waiting there for the police? Waiting there when Detective Lamont rolls up at Mario Saldana's in July of 2022, on July like 16th, 17th of 2022. They just roll up to Mario Saldana's rental property and they're like, oh, hey, we're here to just interview you and ask you about Mario. Oh, do you want us to take this tire off of your hands? We noticed that this tire was just laying up against your guys' house over here on the side. Do you want us just to get rid of it? What? Excuse me? You guys, the murder was like 6 months ago. Where did Henry Tennant's other random tire truck come from? It's a setup. It was set up. John Biggerstaff slash Jeremy slash the Popo. I personally believe that they found that truck and knew where that truck was before they said they did. Then they got to the truck. Okay, here, we need this tire. My question just is did the police use, and obviously Biggerstaff and Jeremy? And I just believe the answer is yes. I do. But now how to, I think it'd be enough to just show the jury that why the fuck? How does Henry Tennant's tire get, it was on his vehicle. It was the tire that was in the middle of the road that got taken into evidence. That was said all over the news that there was a tire left in the middle of the road. Henry Tennant knew when he saw that the truck, and he's like, oh my God, these motherfuckers. You guys used my truck. You guys said that you were going to go repost somebody or you're going to do this. I knew you guys were going to do fucking something. This is what you did? Like, what? And again, this is just how I feel. This is how I see it based off of the evidence. And it's like, holy shit. You left the tire there? My DNA is on the tire, meaning Henry's, right? No shit, his DNA is on there because it's his tire to his truck. And so then 6 months goes by, and then Henry has taken his truck and put it at his friend's lot where he has some, I don't know, rundown shit, whatever. And he goes and puts that vehicle there in April 8th or something of 2022. And you think Henry was just like, you know what? I think I'm going to take that tire, and I'm going to take that tire that's on my vehicle or wherever the fuck it was, and I'm just going to take it with me and just put it in my car. And then when I get home, I'm going to get out, and I'm just going to take this tire out, and I'm just going to throw it on the lawn. Throw it on the lawn in April of 2022. And then Jeremy is just going to say to himself, God, I'm so sick and tired of looking at that damn tire, and it's just collecting water. And so I pick it up and I move it on the side of the house. And then you cops just happen to come by here the next couple days and ask me about my tire and ask me about Mario, and not my tire, but this tire. And then you say, oh, do you want us to just take this off your hands? Like, what the fuck? What do you mean take this tire? It's not my tire. It's a truck tire. Clearly, there's not a truck here. There's no truck here. And then lo and behold, here's Henry. He's getting home from work, and he pulls in with his Crown Vic piece of shit. I don't know if he owned it. I don't know who the hell owned it. His dog's in the car. He gets out the car, and he lays down a bowl, and he's having the dog drink the water out of the bowl. And the cops are like, oh, hey. Can we talk to you about your landlord? And then, would you believe it that Detective Lamont had this conversation, but took his body cam and turned it off when he got the okay to take the tire and to tell them about the tire and that they were going to just take this tire off their hands? What? Okay. I'm sorry, but you put me on a jury and I hear something like that, not guilty all the way across the board. This is absolutely ridiculous. Because you want me to believe that these people all conspired to commit this murder and they're just going to leave a tire in the grass. And Henry is just going to bring it back and be the original person that just says, you know what, I'm going to throw this tire out on the lawn. The fuck? Knowing that tire is a match to the tire that they have in evidence at the Jacksonville Police Department? And that the blue truck and the tire have been circulating on national news? Who the fuck? And that somehow Mario Saldana never saw this tire. Never saw this tire. And any of the times that he went to this house, because it's his property, it's his rental property, and never saw it and never was like, oh my God, what the fuck is this tire doing here? Like, I need to take this tire, throw it in the back of my, my truck, and then I need to go like get rid of this somewhere. Like, what? No, let's just leave this out here. And that the police would then come by in July and it's still there. Only this time, you got Henry's probably DNA on it because it's his tire. You got probably Jeremy's because he's like, I moved the fucking tire. And then, yeah, that sounds like a John Biggerstaff setup, setting up these people. Listen, I'll help you. Because who the hell, why are you giving some disgusting man who has been in more trouble, he's a disgraced cop, tipping off drug dealers with shit. Then he's running a prostitute ring. And now he's in a murder for hire complex. Like, are you kidding me? And you're going to give this man a pass? Are you fucking out of your mind? This is what Florida's doing? This is what Kirsten Bridigan's okay with? I want all of these motherfucking people, but I'm going to tell you what. They said, listen, if you want Shanna Gardner and you want Mario, you're going to have to give a pass somewhere. And so are you okay, Kirsten Bridigan, with us giving people a pass? And you know what was sick? Is that you guys knew that Henry Tenen wasn't the fucking shooter. Look at this shit. Who are the shooters? You're over here saying, these are your army guys. Mario, John Biggerstaff. There's actually another guy that I think that could even be in the mix. Henry's the shooter. Henry killed. And the state was fine with accepting Henry saying that he did the shooting, knowing that he wasn't the shooter. Because these fuckers, John Biggerstaff and Jeremy, lied. They knew they lied. But hey, this is the only way, because there's no way to connect Mario. You need these. And I'm just like, this is crazy. And so this case, I can't believe that people aren't on this case. This case is wild. This case blows away the Adelson case. Because that's a case where if there was anything that was shady that Georgia Kaplan did, it took her how many years to get all those people? You want to know why it takes you all those years to get all those people? Because it's true work. Because it's not lying. It's not fucking us with our rights. And here, in this case, yeah, no. So I can't wait till they're going to have to prove that Henry Tenon's the shooter. Henry Tenon's not the shooter. And they're not going to be able to use Henry Tenon saying anything that he did with the plea deal. That's out. That's out by law. So I'll tell you what, Jesse Dreisler is the way that he's defending Mario, it's like he's like Mario's not involved. And Shanna Gardner doesn't know these people. She doesn't know Henry Tenon. She doesn't know John Biggerstaff, Jeremy Ordway. Shanna has him. She's going to be okay. She has who? Jose Baez? Fuck, she has Diane. She has Diane. Diane is... You need somebody that's all about the timelines. You need somebody that understands timelines, understands chronological order, can really explain to a jury that this can't possibly had happened yet because this didn't happen yet. You know, that's what you got to do. Let's see. All right, that'll take us up. So get caught up to speed on this case. You guys can go to Duval County. In Florida, like everything is out there. Like you can get your hands on a ton of shit. I try to put it all out here, but I think you guys just do better with this case is simplifying things. They say that Shanna Gardner married a hitman, basically. Married Mario because it was designed that Mario was going to, eventually commit this murder. I just don't see it. But instead, what I see is Gardner was done. Like Mario, like this is over. Like we're getting divorced. And he had to make a move. So when that happened in January, then he knew that his cush little life was over. And so I just believe that he did this to keep, I don't want to say that to keep in the marriage, but all right, well, if you don't give me X, Y, and Z, then I could take down your whole world. So for me, it was about Mario with money. I don't know. I think Shanna Gardner told the wrong person one time while drinking some shit. And then these little fucking criminals got their little brains going. And we're like, oh. When I found out, a couple of my sources are friends with her, and you would never know that she had any money. She never acted like that. People didn't know that her family was like fucking loaded or anything like that. And so I just believe that Shanna mentioned some stuff, and then to somebody like a Mario and John Biggerstaff, these people, are you kidding me? People that are getting in trouble for porn rings and fucking a cop that becomes disgraced due to tipping off drug dealers. I'm like, how the fuck was he not? How was he just out and about? I don't know. Just out of curiosity, who did Mario screw over that could be out for revenge? Yes, so that's exactly what I believe. That's so sad. Use it to their advantage. Yes. And I'm telling you, I think that Shanna Gardner didn't think that Mario did it because she was home and he was home, and like he didn't. And then she was like, she had a lawyer and she's like, I want to do it and I want to sit down with the media. Why? The fuck are you going to sit down with the media? She was trying to turn herself in because she didn't want her kids to they wouldn't do it. She's like, hey, if you guys are going to be arresting me because you guys just arrested Mario, I don't want my kids to be I will come to Florida. Here I am. They wouldn't even return her phone call. She was living in Tallahassee or where was it? I think it was Tallahassee or Jack. She was living over there waiting for a couple weeks, and her lawyer let the state know where she was, and then 2-3 weeks went by, and then she's just like, okay, what? They haven't gotten back to us. What do you want me to do? We'll just go back to Washington. So they arrested Mario in March of 2023, and then they arrested her in August, I think, of 2023. And they made sure everybody had body worn camera on and make a scene so we can play it all over the fucking internet, social media, the body worn camera. Because if she just turns herself in and she goes to the station, there is none of that. And that's what she was trying to do. If you guys are going to arrest me, please spare my children. And that should just tell you that they do not care about kids. They do not care about the victims. The state does not care about the victims. They actually just care about the country, the world, the people that are still alive. And all we care about is that we're getting bad people off the street because we can't save a victim. I mean, they're gone, And we care about our numbers. We care about our job. This is a job to me. I get paid for this. My numbers, I get paid. I have to, I need to get reelected, shit like that. They do not give a fuck about victims. That's why I laugh when people want to come in here like, Lana, don't you care about the victims? I'm like, huh. Funny you should say that. Because I can promise you the people that you root on do not give a fuck about the victims. Far from it. I just want everybody involved. I don't believe that the Brian Kohlberg case, only one person committed the crime. Because something has to give. Either the crime took a hell of a lot longer to happen with one person, or there was more people. So pick. I'm not an idiot. What else? Something has to give. Okay, so tonight we're going to be discussing the Showalter shit. People have lost their minds. I want people that think that Jack Showalter, Jack Decor, anybody from the frats, please call into the show tonight. Okay? I want to hear why you think this and what evidence that has come out in this case supports your theory. Okay? You have the right to go FOIA shit. So I am going to call you out if you don't have something I can say, okay, yeah, that would, I could see where you're going with that. Sure. But you're not going to make up a bunch of shit. Okay? Go FOIA stuff. You don't think someone like John Jack Showalter sent emails in from his mom, from his dad, from himself? Go get those communications. Same thing with Jack Decor. Who went out there and got the Jack D interviews? Everybody that thinks Jack DeCour that's guilty. Okay. Well, go. Why haven't you put in a FOIA request to get the interview so that you can say, listen to this shit? I'm going in order for a very specific reason. Because it makes it easier for you to understand how the investigation developed or how it didn't develop and how it should have probably developed. But if you go and get shit out of order, here, let's go get, I'm trying to go chronologically. So, Lana, Connor is releasing a Drew Carter interview in an hour. Don't know who that is. Let me guess, Sigma Chi. Until somebody in a Sigma Chi interview says that and rats out a drug dealer, these investigators did not go after that. And I don't know, maybe these investigators were told, hey, do not ask them any questions like that. Let the FBI do it. Because those interviews can be totally protected. You're going to have to go through lots of hoops and chains to get to those interviews. 2E requests and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Kiss Me Where I Pee says, you can tell you paid attention and did your homework in school. But all I did. And I never, in high school, and I didn't bring home book. Oh, and in the Turtle Boy saga, anybody who said Lana's lying, there's no filing, they finally learned today. So good for them. There is a filing. Call the courts. You'd be amazed at what you can do if you just call somebody. If you want to know something, pick up a phone. Maybe we need to get the white pages going again. Like, do you not know how to like use a phone and call and say, hey, I am trying to find information on blah, blah, blah. Like, fucking A, how do these people like take care of themselves? Well, thank you. To think these people have kids. Their fucking house must just be a train wreck. Like, everything. Mom, make me a hot dog. I don't know how to do that. Google that shit. Google is your friend. All right, guys, we'll see you. Like I said, later tonight, and then tomorrow I'm with the verdict room. We're going to be talking about Idaho 4 again. I'm going to see if they want to do like a debate panel. I think that'll be fun. I encourage people to have their opinions. I encourage people to just know why you have your opinion. I just feel like these people are involved. Why? Why? Like, I have a feeling that Molly is a liar. I have a feeling that Molly is hiding something because she got a new phone, got new tires, and avoided the police. Drew was at the grub truck, Lana. Amazing. Is he number 9? Who's the number 9 guy? What's the date of the hearing for the EWC people? God, I forgot about that. I gotta put a motion in for that. All right. Yeah, Google Shanna Gardner, Google Mario Fernandez, Google Jared Bridegan, Google Henry Tenen, Google John Biggerstaff. These are going to be all the big names. in August. Jose Baez, it's been a while since he's been in the courtroom. Jose and Diane back together again. Until next time, guys. Tonight, we'll see you. Peace.